So today is a day that will be forever marked in history, where the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem has officially opened. Leaders have made their speeches, and I'm reading this Jerusalem Post article. I will go ahead and read the whole thing, and I'm going to make some remarks about it. The title is Netanyahu Thanks Trump for Keeping Promises, Moving Embassy to Jerusalem. 69 years after Israel declared Jerusalem as its capital, and 23 years after the U.S. Congress passed a law mandating that Washington move its embassy there, the U.S. formally opened its embassy in the city on Monday afternoon in a move Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared as momentous. In a video address to the Assembly, U.S. President Donald Trump said the move was long time coming and that Israel, like all sovereign nations, has a right to name its own capital. Trump mentioned that the U.S. would still be observing the status quo in terms of contested territories such as the Temple Mount. The U.S. will always be a great friend of Israel and a partner in the cause of freedom and peace, Trump said. We extend a hand of friendship to Israel, the Palestinians, and to all of their neighbors. May there be peace. May God bless this embassy. May God bless all who serve here. And may God bless the United States of America. President Reuven Rivlin thanked Republicans and Democrats alike for their love and support of Israel. He received a standing ovation when he said every president has promised to move the American embassy to Jerusalem. Finally, we have a leader who promised this and also kept this promise. The Israeli people thanks you for keeping your word, for your courage, for your determination, and for your firm, unwavering stance alongside the state of Israel, he continued. We hope and expect that other nations will follow your path and your leadership. We will continue to safeguard Jerusalem as a city of peace, as a home to all those of faith, a city for all its residents and citizens of all religions and communities who share together one city, which is so greatly loved by everyone. Trump's son-in-law and advisor, Jared Kushner, then took the stage. When President Trump makes a promise, he keeps it, Kushner said. By moving our embassy to Jerusalem, we have shown the world once again that the U.S. can be trusted. We stand with our friends and our allies, and above all, we've shown that the U.S. will do what's right, and so we have. The U.S. stands with Israel because we both believe in freedom. We stand together because we both believe in human rights. We stand together because we both believe that democracy is worth defending. And the U.S. stands with Israel because we know that it's the right thing to do. Kushner received resounding applause when he mentioned President Trump's decision last week to exit the Iran nuclear agreement and when he gave thanks to U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, for her hard work. Kushner also reiterated the U.S.'s commitment to helping find a peaceful end to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Jerusalem must remain a city that brings people of all faiths together, he said. As Israel turns 70, the search for lasting peace turns over a new leaf, one of realism, of courage to stand with our allies for what is right and what is true. Kushner said one day humanity will look back at this moment and note that the journey to peace started with America recognizing the truth. If we dream big, if we lead with courage, we can change the trajectory for millions from hopelessness to boundless. In the final address before the benediction, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, addressing the U.S. delegation, said, "We have no better friends in the world. You stand for Israel, and you stand for Jerusalem. Thank you. What a glorious day. Remember this moment," Netanyahu entreated the applauding crowd. President Trump, by recognizing history, you have made history. All of us are deeply moved. All of us are deeply grateful. Reciting a chain of historic events that took place in Jerusalem from David, declaring it as a capital to Israeli soldiers, regaining the Temple Mount in 1967, Netanyahu said, "We are in Jerusalem. We are here to stay." Netanyahu also saluted the Israeli troops defending Israel at all hours. "We gather here together to celebrate another historic day in the life of this city, which I know will take its place alongside other momentous decisions in the history of our people." Last December, President Trump became the first world leader to recognize Jerusalem as our capital, and today the United States of America is opening its embassy right here in Jerusalem, Netanyahu said. "We thank you, President Trump, for having the courage to keep your promises. Thank you, President Trump, and thank you all for making the alliance between America and Israel stronger than ever. My friends, this is a great day for Israel. It is a great day for America. It is a great day for our fantastic partnership. But I believe it's also a great day for peace. The truth and peace are interconnected. A peace that is based on lies will only crash on the rocks of Middle Eastern realities. And the truth will always be that Jerusalem has always been and will always be the capital of the Jewish state. May the opening of this embassy in this city spread the truth far and wide, and may the truth promote a lasting peace between Israel and all of our neighbors." Okay. So, there's a few things in here that troubled me. One of them is Donald Trump's speech. There is no quotation of a blessing for Israel. Only a blessing for the embassy, a blessing for the people who serve at the embassy, and a blessing for the United States of America. I find that troubling, that the omission says a lot. That's worrisome. Now, another thing is how many times the word peace has been mentioned throughout this whole thing. We all know full and well what it says and what Paul said. I believe it was 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 3, I think it was. When they shall say peace and safety. Destruction comes, and they shall not escape. Who is they? The Gentiles. Peace is mentioned way too many times. Everyone knows that the recognition of Jerusalem will not bring peace. Anyone who has a half a brain knows that. Well, peace with, or how is it? What did Benjamin Netanyahu say close to the bottom about peace with truth? Yes, the truth and peace are interconnected. A peace that is based on lies will only crash on the rocks of Middle Eastern realities. So, earlier on in this particular article, you notice that President Donald Trump says that the U.S. would still be observing the status quo in terms of contested territories such as on the Temple Mount. Well, I have a question. What are you going to do, first of all, democracy is mentioned too many times in this article as well, in the speeches. When the Messiah takes his place on David's throne, there will be no democracy. Democracy in Israel will end. And the contested territories will no longer be contested. The current status quo will no longer exist. So my question is to not only President Donald Trump, but to all the world leaders. What will you do? Will you say that, no, you cannot do this? Are you going to try to stop it when it happens? Have any of you read the Bible at all? Have any of you read the prophets? Have any of you read the Gospels? Have any of you read Hebrews 8, verses 8 through 12? Or Romans 11? This is troubling. This is not wholehearted. This is, at best, a half measure. It is half-hearted. It is lukewarm. There appears to be conditions. Once again, conditions appear to be the status quo, and too many times mentioning peace, as if peace is going to be negotiated somehow between the haters of Israel and Israel. You cannot negotiate with terrorists. And I find this interesting. Yes, the U.S. State Department, even under John Bolton, has been talking about peace negotiations just a couple of days ago. Has not the United States of America, the President of the United States of America, proven that this Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, this deal, was based on false pretenses? And when it was proven to be the case, it's a form of a peace deal. Let's be honest about it. When it was proven to be based on false pretenses, President Donald Trump walked out of that deal. You cannot ask Israel to make a deal with their enemies who are sworn to exterminate Israel. You cannot ask Israel to make a deal with them, a peace deal with them, when you yourselves would not do it. That is called hypocrisy. Do not even mention negotiations again. Don't do it, or you're a hypocrite. And as far as the fake Stinians are concerned, those in Gaza, well, Gaza is mentioned a few times in the prophets, and their end is not going to be good, and the world is not going to like. The world is going to take their side, Gaza's side, unfortunately. And we're about to see, apparently, according to several news sources, Hamas and Iran are trying to assemble 250,000 rioters in Gaza, and there's no telling what they're planning for Judea and Samaria. So yesterday, I believe it was, I said watch the next 72 hours. Well, no, watch longer than that. Watch until at least May the 19th. Or watch at least until the end of Shavuot. Why do I say Shavuot? Well, the day that Messiah was born was on Shavuot. So, in other words, the day that he arrived the first time, Yeshua Messiah, not Jesus Christos, the day that Yeshua Messiah arrived was on Shavuot. He is the first fruit of many. And so I say everyone should be watchful on Shavuot. I can't make any predictions about what's happening on Shavuot next few days. The only thing I can say is watch. Be careful and watch. Who knows? So that is my assessment of the speech summary. It is not completely straightforward, but it is a step in the right direction. Like I said, pay attention. It's very likely things are going to start happening very quickly.